So we meet again. All right. So you're inquiring about not only getting your CDL, but also trying to look at one of these mega carriers. Well, we're here to discuss today the common theme that goes across generally against or with most mega carriers. So we just gonna get into that today. Y'all tapped in with the Head of the Game podcast if y'all new to the channel. Make sure y'all like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave your thoughts, comments below. Y'all read the title. Let's get right into it. So I wrote down a list. These are my 5 biggest misconceptions about getting on with a mega carrier after you get your CDL. Or before you even get your CDL and you got your CLP or however you decide to go along with a mega carrier. Here are my 5 biggest misconceptions about this whole process, right? Number 1, if you did get your CDL through a third-party school, job securement initially is still at stake. And what do I mean by that? It means that before you start tying up your loose ends, as far as like putting in your 2 weeks, before you leave your job, before you say bye to your friends and family, before you sell your car, before you leave your crib, understand that the orientation is not a real orientation, right? It's not like the orientation with most jobs where, all right, I got the job, I'm in there. Nah, I just got to go through the motions of understanding how to do my job. No. This kind of orientation is just an interview masqueraded as an orientation. And I will get into that in this way, right? So you have to pass an evaluation, meaning that when they get you out there, you're still in the interview process. They still want to see, despite you having the legal ability to be able to drive a tractor trailer, they still want to see you operate their equipment through their training, right? So that kind of leads into my next point, which is your skill level. I don't take offense to this when I say this, but when you have your CDL, you do not know how to drive a truck, right? You might be able to drive it well enough, to save someone's life. Say you need to just jump over in the steering wheel and drive it up maybe like an hour or so. Okay, but to do it for a living, to actually drive well enough to get paid from it, you have not hit that crescendo yet. And I'm just going to give you the differentiation why I tell you don't know how to drive yet. Now, aside from that, if you just got your CDL, I just want to tell you congrats. Good stuff, doing your thing. Keep going. But I'm just going to expand on this point right here. When you pass the CDL test from your local DMV, your state DMV, the only reason why the orientation of whatever mega carrier you're going towards is more intensified is because they're looking at it like, now you're driving our equipment day in and day out. So we, for sure, got to make sure you know how to operate this safely, through our lens, right? Because you're basically doing our equipment, you're interacting with our customers, you're basically the extension of our contract, right? So that's why I say, I don't want to say you don't know how to drive. No, I don't take that back. You don't know how to drive well enough to get paid from this profession, right? And for my school, there's other schools that's different. We use cones to do our backup maneuvers and stuff like that. At a real trucking school, you're gonna be parking behind trailers, and they're gonna be harsh about it. They're gonna look at it like, hey, all right, you got a little learning curve, but they're not going to give you a lot of time to figure all that out, right? My next point, payment, right? Most people think, oh yeah, I got my CDL, Class A, yeah. I'm about to hit the bank as soon as I sit up there and get up in this occupation, you feel me? About to rock with these mega carriers, you feel me? Nah, no. Your first year, just look at it as an internship. I ain't gonna front with you. Look at it as an internship. Reason being is that you're not gonna get paid out the yin yang until you get your experience up or you got your endorsements and you go to some kind of specialized version of trucking, right? Number two, and I had a bad habit of this, it's like on paper, on the application, it got all these vague numbers like cent per mile. How much does the top 10% of that account earns annually? So your eyes get real big, like, oh snap, I can make that. And you're constantly probing, trying to gauge how far you're away from that benchmark, right? Now, when you get into school, you can call your recruiter up. You can talk to the students. You can talk to the trainers. You can go so as far as to talk to your driving manager or the drivers that's on the account. The information I'm going to keep it 100. You're not going to know how much you're getting paid off of whatever account until you actually work the account, right? Because when you're in training and you're in your orientation, you're getting trainee pay, which is like minimum wage. Minimum wage, probably earning about $300, $400 a week during training. Now, when you pass your your evaluation, and you get transitioned over into an actual driver for the company, then they'll start paying you accordingly, right? So that's the thing about pay. There's a big misconception is that people just think they just hit the ground running. Nah, you gotta, you gotta put some time in. Put some time in. That's why I say look at that first year as an internship, right? Next point, living situation, right? Living situation or just preparation in general, right? The recruiter tries their best to try to tell you, but they never been through this process, so they only know the on the surface, like bring a sleeping bag and so on and so forth. And it kind of goes back to the tying the loose ends part. The things that you really need to bring, hygienics, deodorant, lotion if you use it, chapstick if you use it, soap, towels, deodorant, laundry detergent. I mean, you could probably buy laundry detergent when you get out there. Just make sure your clothes is washed. Make sure you got a week full of clothes. And most importantly, make sure you got some money. Because if you go out there broke, you're going to feel like this is one of the worst decisions you ever made in your life. They only feed you one time a day. They're talking about, we got breakfast in the morning over at the hotel. All you get is an apple, a bagel with cream cheese, and an orange juice. So you're going to feel like you just waiting for the bus to come, you're waiting at the bus stop. And, you have to like you back in, what's that, like elementary school. They're giving you an elementary school breakfast. Oh, here's your little juicy. Here's your little baggie. And yeah, they're going to give you a little apple. And then that's it. And then they're going to sit up there, they're going to feed you lunch over at the training facility. But they're only gonna do it midday, and then you gotta worry about your dinner. So if you want this to be the most pleasant, seamless experience you've ever encountered, come prepared. Now, there's probably some things I probably missed off that list. I'm really trying to think deep. Things that I wish I would have possibly did differently. Yeah, and then also make sure you go shopping, grocery shopping. Because you're going to be there for 2 weeks. And if you buying fast food, you gonna burn through all your money. If you bought less than, I say $150, you gonna burn through that in about 6-7 days. You feel me? So let's see what else I got here. Oh yeah. I forgot about this one on preparation. And this just being transparent, y'all. You feel me? Disclaimer, I'm far removed from this, but to those that are transitioning into this profession, that, you smoke weed, you feel me? You got that MJ in your system. Unlike most drug tests, they're going to drug test you 2 ways. Hair follicle and then a piss test. So don't come up in there like, oh yeah, I'm beat this piss test, you feel me? You could beat the piss test, but you could fail on the hair follicle test because it goes back 90 days. And forget all them blogs, all them threads you be looking at and deep diving in Reddit, talking about bleach your hair. You can't beat the hair test. It's been too much money. It's too far advanced in technology. And here's the messed up part about this, right? You can fail the hair follicle test. Does it go on some mega carrier database? Maybe. As unfortunate that would be, you still got your CDL. You failed one of them DOT piss tests, just throw your license in the trash. Because they're going to revoke your license. You're going to have to go through the whole clearinghouse. And just don't even. Long story short, make sure you're clean before you get there. Now, I know they drug test you before you even get into CDL school. So you already should have a long, extensive runway before you even get to that point. As far as like the orientation, as far as, like the make it carry and stuff like that, right? So I just say all that to say, leave your bad habits at home. And the last thing about preparation is don't get it twisted far as, oh yeah, they gave me a flight. Oh, they gave me a rental and I got the itinerary in my email and it says I got a hotel room booked for 2 weeks. I'm going to be living in luxury. No. Nope. Don't get that idea out your head. They're going to put you in some rinky-dinky ass 2-star hotel. It's just probably close to a motel. The area is going to be the worst. So don't be walking out at night talking about I want a midnight snack. Because the area 9 times out of 10 is going to be bad. And you have a roommate. So don't think that they just booked this room because they trying to save that money. So they gonna sit up there, they gonna put you in with a roommate, a stranger, and you better hope that the person they put you in with y'all somewhat compatible or respectful. Forget the compatibility, just respectful of each other's spaces, because that could just make the experience that much worse, right? So if they rent you out a car, yeah, that might be nice. They sit up there and they book a rental for you and you just drive in like, oh, okay, I'm about to change my life. And you are about to change your life, right? That's not to be downplayed with. But the process into changing your life, don't expect nothing special. You feel me? Just understand, put your hard hat on, you're going there for work. Yeah, these companies are multi-billion-dollar companies, but don't get ahead of yourself. You feel me? And then last but not least, this job is not like, it kind of goes back to my first point, which is this job isn't like most orientations. It's like boot camp. It's just like boot camp, right? So when you in that hotel, they telling you, hey, wake your behind up and be at that bus stop at 5:30 in the morning. don't miss the bus, or you're gonna have to pay out of pocket. Now the place was too far, but you gonna have to pay a $20 overhead to get yourself over to that training facility if you miss that bus, because it's not coming back. It's not coming back for you. Once it's there, everybody loaded. Feel me? About 5:40, they're closing the doors, and they out of there. So make sure every morning, if you're not a morning person, oh well, you better become one. I'm not a morning person. I never missed the bus. I was always there. Now, was I cutting it close some days? Yeah, some mornings I was cutting it close. But it's just like boot camp. It's not a regular job orientation where everybody's all this camaraderie and they trying to show you like, welcome to the team, and all this, it's none of that. It's all right. First and foremost, day one, you're gonna be up in that mug, and they're gonna say, hey, this your first 1 or 2 days gonna be classroom work, probably a day and a half, and they just gonna tell you all the things that could get you knocked off, right? So there's certain assessments you gotta pass, and you only got so many attempts, or they gotta send you home, right? Now I'll tell you this, right? Don't allow those assessments to intimidate you, because they got books and it's an open book test. You can't fail an open. Well, I don't want to say you can't fail it, but if you try, it's gonna be very difficult to fail this test, right? What else? Yeah, after you get done with the paperwork, they send you out to the yard. Ain't none of that, oh yeah, we're gonna sit up there and put on the training wheels and get you nice and nah, they ain't playing none of that. They gonna get you out there in that field and you going straight to work with it. You're doing them pre-trips, you feel me? And they pre-trips may be different from the pre-trips you did at your CDL school, only due to the fact because maybe it's a different truck. They got different compartments and they're placed in it. It's just kind of like looking at different car engines. The radiator and the alternator and the belts and so on and so forth, you feel me, is going to be in different areas that's unfamiliar in that engine, right? And they might want you to extensively go even beyond what your CDL school had told you far as doing your pre-trip, right? Your road test is going to be way more extensive. It's not going to be just, make 4 rights down these, blocks and stuff like that, and, go ahead and do this one tight turn, and then that's it. Nah, they're going to bring you through school zones. They're going to bring you on that freeway, and they're not just going to bring you on that freeway just for a couple exits. They're going to have you cruising down that mud. You feel me? All around the city. Not just a couple around in the neighborhood. They're going to bring you through school zones. They're going to make sure you reading signs. You adjusting your speed limits. You diligently reading signs and things of that nature. So their evaluation, you feel me? Now every school has, and every school has a certain level of training, right? So there's some schools that's probably not as strict as that. You feel me? They might just be like, all right, well, just show me what you got, right? And if you need additional training, we'll work with you. And then there's other schools where they're super on top of safety. They don't play no games. They don't want you getting out the truck wrong, sitting up there facing out the truck and not, with your back turned, using 3 points of contact, or taking the keys out the ignition when after you're done operating the truck and leaving it in a certain place. Like, they're gonna, some companies will beat the safety into you to make sure that when you're operating this equipment and you're operating it, they can trust that you know how to handle every safety measure, because you're going to develop a system, right? Last but not least on this whole boot camp situation is, You might get after you pass that, right? You pass your eval, your skills test, everything. Just imagine you doing the entire DMV test, but you got to do it all over again for that company. Once you do that, then we get to the fun part, which is your final training week. Your final training week. Now, some companies might have you with a trainer for 2, 3, 4 weeks out on the road with a trainer until they feel like you're good enough. Some companies only require a week. Regardless of what, I only had 1 week, and I was out with my trainer, and I had to sleep inside of a truck like this 5 days, sharing this space with another person, right? When you're working all day, it definitely goes by fast. But I mean, when you're driving, that person right there in the passenger seat looking at you, y'all sharing the same space, occupying the same space for 5 days straight, right? Now, depending on how cool or not cool your trainer is, you feel me? That can make the experience. And then at the end of that, then you got to do an evaluation. So once you thought, oh, okay, yeah, I secured the job. Now I'm about to go out with my trainer, and my trainer's about to train me on how to do the job. You thought it was a problem trying to get through the first 2 weeks of orientation. That last week is going to be the most extensive because they're actually going to have you on the road. And guess what? You're still going to be getting trainee pay, though you're doing an actual profession, that could get you, you're doing high earner work, but you're getting minimum wage pay, right? But once you do all that and you get, like I said, you get transferred over, you pass your eval, you transfer over to driver pay, and you work your first week and they give you a truck and things of that nature, then pretty much you'll be good, right? But those are all my misconceptions. You feel me? I put a lot of thought into this list, as y'all can see. Yeah, but if anybody watching this video and y'all been through y'all orientations and maybe there's something I missed, you can go ahead and y'all can mention that. You feel me? With that aside, appreciate for watching the video. Like I said in the beginning of this video, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thoughts, comments, leave them below. And with that being said, I'm up out of here. Catch you on the next one. All right, I'm going.